Hey guys, this is Matthew from Commercial Deal Junkie, and I'm actually under contract on this retail plaza here in Wichita, Kansas. And I'm gonna go over what makes this a good value add deal, how much I expect to make off the deal, and what my plans are with this plaza. So to start with, it's a 10,250 square foot retail plaza in Wichita, Kansas, 6 tenants, newer build, 1995 build. And I'm gonna be going in, purchasing it at $1 million, and I expect within about 2 to 3 years, this thing will be worth over $1.6 million. Now, how am I gonna go about doing that? First thing is there is a vacancy. Now, not a literal vacancy, but what we call an economic vacancy. What does that mean? That means there's a tenant in this building that is not paying rent and has not been paying rent for a while. So even though they're still in the unit, they're still occupying the unit, running their business out of there, they are not paying rent. So that's called an economic vacancy. So simply, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get that tenant out and I'm gonna re-tenant the unit. Just by doing that, I've increased the NOI enough to make this a $1.3 million building just by replacing that one tenant. Now, is that gonna be easy? Maybe, probably not. But it's something I got to be able to do in order to take the property to its highest and best use. Now, I already mentioned the age of this building, 1995. Now, one of the mistakes I made in the past was I purchased older buildings. Because they were cheaper, I was able to afford them. But I purchased a lot of older buildings, which caused me to be in a situation where the properties were having a lot of CapEx issues. A lot of surprises with the electrical and the HVACs and the plumbing, simply because they were really, really old. But by buying newer buildings, now I have the option to hold the assets for longer without worrying about too much CapEx. And I'm also able to add value and replace the tenants without having to invest a lot of money in tenant improvements. In many cases, on my older buildings, whenever I get a new retail tenant in, they say, hey, this AC is 20 years old, we need you to replace the HVAC. But that's not something I'll likely have to worry about in this building. The other thing is, with your classic value add, the rents are just way below market. This is a $15 square foot market, and some of these rents are at $8, $9, $10 a square foot. So by replacing the non-paying tenant and taking the current tenants to market, I'm looking at a $1.7 million building. So one of the first things I look at when I'm evaluating a value add commercial deal is what is the difference between the current value of the building, or what I'm going to be paying for the building, and what is this thing going to be worth when I'm done with it. So there needs to be enough room there to even expand on that further. What am I going to buy the building for? How much do I need to put into it to do the things I just mentioned, to replace the tenants and bring the current tenants up to market? And how much is it going to be worth when I'm done? So my current underwriting has me at $1 million purchase price, about another $100,000 in renovations and leasing commissions to replace the tenant that's non-paying, and potentially some of the other tenants if they're unable to afford the market rent. And so I'm going to be all in at 1.1, and then within 2 to 3 years, at the new NOI with the new tenants at market rent and replacing the existing tenant, the non-paying one, this is going to be a $1.6 to $1.7 million building. So there's about $500,000 in equity in this building by going in and doing the work and replacing the tenants. So, the numbers on this one work quite well. Is there work involved? Of course. But because the building is newer, most of the work is going to be done on the leases and re-tenanting, not so much so, doing renovations. Because this building's actually in better shape, I'm gonna paint the building. I'm gonna redo the parking lot. Parking lot's not in the greatest shape. I'm just small items here and there. There are some units that are having AC issues, even though the ACs are newer, so there's gonna be some items that need to be replaced there. But I don't see this whole process taking me more than about a year. And then some of the tenants still have term remaining on their leases. So I'm going to have to wait out their leases before I take their rents to market. And then whether or not they stay or leave is up to them before I go in and re-tenant the building. So this is your classic value add. A building that was, improperly managed and owned, a lazy ownership that just was glad that the building was full. They had a very, very, very low basis. They purchased this building a long time ago at a very low price. So even at $8, $10, $12 a square foot, they're still making money. So but I'm gonna go in, my basis is gonna be higher, and I'm gonna do the things that need to be done in order to take the building up to market. Now, speaking of the area, let's spend a little time and talk about this part of Wichita, Kansas. It is a higher income part of the city. Like most cities, Wichita has very poor areas and wealthier areas. Now, the average income in this part of Wichita is over $80,000, which is very high for the state of Wichita, for the state of Kansas, I mean. So, with it being in this neighborhood, it makes me feel more comfortable that I'm going to be able to achieve those rents that I plan on. The other thing is the traffic on this road is actually pretty good. So we have, it's not quite a corner lot, it's right off the corner, but on the direct road it's on, this one right here, we have 16,000 vehicles, and then there's a gas station before the corner, and that corner over there also gets about 17,000 vehicles. So with that traffic, I should not have an issue with the tenants bringing in customers. Some tenants rely more on impulse purchases. Things like smoke shops require impulse purchases versus things like chiropractors and things like that, where are more likely to require appointments and things as such. But overall, I'm happy with this deal. We had the inspection yesterday. Nothing major jumped out on me. It is a newer building, so it's less likely to have major issues. Happy with the location, happy with the numbers, which is the most important thing, that there's margin between what I'm buying it at and what it'll be worth when I'm done with it. Overall, the numbers look good. We know we're gonna have issues with the non-paying tenant. They've already made it clear that, you know, it's not gonna be as an amicable it's not going to be as amicable as we were hoping, but we have no issues with it. They're month to month at the time, so once we close, we're going to serve a 30-day notice. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I think this is going to be a slam dunk deal, and I'm excited to update you guys on the deal.